What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about if Scream 6/Scream 2, whatever you want to call it, will actually kill off Mindy. Now, this was a discussion I had with Ryan Showers, right? We did the video with him a little while ago, and he had brought up how he believes, Mindy could definitely die. Maybe they could recreate in the way the Randy thing. Now, since that happened, there was the behind-the-scenes picture of Jasmine, Samara, and Tony, right? Obviously two of the new ones, and then her, and her hairstyle is different. Now, the hairstyle thing is getting people to question, well, why would the hairstyle of Mindy change in this movie? There's only two reasons why Jasmine, the individual, would change hair. Number one, because the filming has wrapped, which is definitely possible. You see Courtney Cox. I think what seems to be happening is some of them were sent home. Some of them have finished, and somebody like a Melissa Barrera and maybe even like a Jenna Ortega, they are there all the way until September. That's with what Melissa was saying in interviews, you have to have the sense that she's at least going to be there until September. And then the question is, well, who else is going to be there? Maybe Samara, maybe not. I don't think it necessarily indicates anything for like Courtney or, Gail. I don't think it means anything for that. But for Jasmine, it's like, all right, well, either she was sent home and not in like you're sent home from school, like you were suspended or something. Like you finished shooting, you're done on set. So you can go and you can change whatever you want about your physical appearance. And so that's what she did. That's option A. And that is hopefully the option that they're taking. Otherwise, it would be a spoiler. And then option B is, well, technically, there is a C option. Option B would be she was sent home because she's finished filming because they killed her off, right? Kind of like a subsection of A. But the other option is that this movie takes place over a period of time. Now, we have heard from a rumor mill, or I guess from the rumor mill, from one individual leaker, the one who's so heavy about, Nev coming back. That person has said that the movie takes place over like a full month, if not more, would be in this movie. Now, again, I mean, you can believe it or not believe it. The hair thing's possible, right? Because it's like, look, costume changes, like having a different outfit and stuff, that makes sense. Changing your hairstyle, though, maybe for like a party, like a Halloween party, you could, I guess there's more than just like, the more you talk, the more I can't shut up, the more options, I guess, open up, right? Maybe it's a Halloween party and she changed her hair for that. Of course, if time jumps in the film, there's reason that she could do it. The reason, obviously, for it not working, right, if it took place over a normal screen time, is that these movies take place over like a day or two. So the fact is, like, if you have one hairstyle that we know and then all of a sudden it's changed and it's happening like overnight, doesn't really make much sense why you would do something like that, right? Seems pretty obvious, the argument of why. Now, that's literally just going off of one picture. It's incredible the amount we can talk about in one picture. Now the question, could they actually kill Mindy? I'm really gonna say I feel like the answer is no. We've talked about Mindy versus Kirby versus like Chad. Look, in terms of the real Randy-like character of the movie right now, or the franchise right now, it is Mindy, right? Chad, obviously has like the DNA and the twin kind of stuff, and the thing with Scream 5 that we've talked about is a lot of the characters were more self-aware than I think they usually are, right? Like, Chad was pretty okay. Wes was very practical, right? And he kind of knew the rules, the general, but it wasn't meta in the way that Mindy was, right? Mindy had the speech of the requel and all that stuff. Wes was more, why you have this app that literally doesn't make any sense. You should bring around like protection with you. And it makes sense. I actually really like, and that's why I wanted him to survive longer. I really like the character of Wes because it really reflects what a kid with a mom that's like the sheriff of this town that has all these killings, what that kid would kind of be raised to understand and to be able to pick out. I really like that, right? Chad was definitely the least, but he was still somewhat self-aware, more than I would say like an average, definitely more than like an average horror cannon fodder, and I would say probably more than average Scream, victim or survivor. I would say that, more than average, right? Not up there to the levels of others, but definitely there. So Mindy is that role. Kirby was the role for 4, but I actually really like how they did Kirby with 4, as people have pointed out. Like, Kirby is not really the stereotypical Randy. Like, she's in the same vein, but like, if you made her, or if you continued, I guess, her in this movie, not really acting like what you would imagine a Randy character would, it actually kind of makes sense because she wasn't a one-to-one thing. Mindy was. Now, I like what they did with her. I'm not saying she was a bad character. I'm just saying that she is more of the Randy stand-in. So then the question is, well, obviously, when you get to a movie that is going to be playing off of Scream 2, see, that throws everything off, right? Because you can have the discussion of, okay, if you bring Kirby in, does that make one of Kirby or Mindy expendable? And the answer is probably, but not 100%, not necessarily. But then you bring in, all right, well, if they're going to try to copy kind of beats of Scream 2, which, let's be real, I think they probably will, does that really put her in grave danger, right? One of the behind-the-scenes pictures that was taken of the filming is a scene, looks like a scene, very, similar to 2 when they get the phone call and they kind of all split up and then Randy ends up getting grabbed. It's very similar to that. Now, I don't know if that's Mindy's death scene. To have it so publicized and people have taken pictures of kind of the setup of it, I don't know if you would really have allowed people to do that, or maybe the security just absolutely sucks, though. We don't really know what they are hoping people don't see versus what people actually do see. We don't know. I feel like a lot of the stuff that we've seen, we really weren't supposed to see at all. Does that make sense? Only the stuff kind of officially from them. So I can see it, and, I guess it's almost like reverse psychology, right? We've talked a lot about Chad and how I think what would be cool is if you increase Chad's, character, and then you killed him, and then we would feel something about that. But, like, the more risky thing to do, the whole bold action, would be, I guess, like, copying 2, and that's kind of not even what they're talking about, but if you're copying 2, well, that's definitely bold in its own kind of way. But killing off Mindy is something where it's like we almost don't expect them to do it because that would just be copy, but then it almost makes it more likely that they would. Does that make sense? It's that kind of like just a circle where you can keep making these arguments over and over and keep kind of circling back. It's tough. I would go back to one of my age-old, not really theories, but kind of like hopes, and I did mention this. I think I mentioned this way back in the day for a Chad video. Another thing with Chad is if they want us to, start to invest in his character, if they kill him off, you have to elevate him before it, right? If you kill Mindy, that's a really good time to show us what a death is like to somebody else. And this is my age-old thing. I'm one of the main people talking about this on YouTube. Scream has obviously always had issues with characters kind of reflecting on other characters' deaths, right? They've had it. It's been okay at times. It's been better at other times. But overall, I would say it's one of the series' weakest things. Now, I always say it's not a television show. You don't have episodes for a character to mourn. You have a couple minutes, and then you have to keep going because it's a movie. It's very limited time. I get why it doesn't happen. But I think like a character like Chad, and I said this, I saw actually somebody mention this on Twitter. I said it before them. The Chad Liv thing. I think it made a lot of sense for Chad to still have some sort of emotions of doubting Liv and thinking she was Ghostface, which resulted in all of this stuff, which resulted in her leaving, which resulted in him getting really injured, and then her eventually dying. Now, it has been time since that, so you could argue he's mourned and reflected in the in-between time. That's fine. That's a cop-out, by the way, because you could say that for anything. Let's really see it. And by the way, I said this back when the movie came out, so that's why I beat the people on Twitter that said it. I really think that makes sense. Have him reflect and mourn Liv. Now, why do I bring that up? Well, if he reflects and mourns Mindy, that helps his character a ton as well. Because one thing I've always said is like I don't really buy it that they're twins and that they care about each other too much. They didn't really show it. Now, of course, like a brother or sister doesn't have to be the most like lovey-dovey, like they show immense care for each other. Siblings are complex and they don't always show it. I understand that. I have a sister actually, so I do get it. But I think if you were to kill Mindy, that would be a real moment for Chad, honestly, to have a sequence or a series that we haven't really, besides Dewey's death, we haven't really seen it. Like Randy's death to Sydney, that was like the most we got at that time. Everybody in Scream 1, just it happened and nobody really, just you move on immediately, right? Even Tatum Tatum's dead, her best friend. She sees her, she lets out kind of like a shriek and she moves on because the movie needs to move on, right? That's weak. In my opinion, that's pretty weak. So you keep going, and again, the Randy thing I felt that. I thought that was pretty good from Nev, honestly. But obviously, it took until Dewey to really take that step where, like, we're gonna have literally a moment, a couple minutes where characters are deeply, like, mourning that character. And a character like Dewey deserves that, right? Yet again, a character like Mindy, she's supposed to be one of your mains. She's a relative, a sibling to one of your other mains. So if you were to kill her, that would really, I think, help out the other one, because then they can kind of reflect on and be like, man, I just lost that person. And again, there's no cop-out of, oh, he can deal with it in between 6 and 7. No, you deal with it right then and there, buddy. All right? And the movie should show it. That's kind of the step that I want this movie to take just in general, or one of the steps, not the only step. But you know what I mean? So, there are positives to killing Mindy. It's not like you're losing entirely the meta-ness because you still have Kirby. So, again, it makes one of them somewhat, but not necessarily 100% expendable. I think you could have both of them going into Scream 7. You could. Does it make the most sense? Maybe not. So maybe you kill one off. At the same time, then my argument against it really is just I don't want them to copy Randy. Because you literally are doing 2 again. That you absolutely are. And I guess they could sell me, like, when I'm watching it on the screen, I can say, okay, I could buy that. I just feel like there'll always be that mental nag in my head where it's like, all right, you're just redoing 2. And I already have that worry. And so by doing that in the movie, something as impactful as that, really is just going to continue to elevate in my head where it's like, yeah, you can sell me on it as much as it makes sense in your film as much as you want, but you're still just kind of doing beat for beat Scream 2, which I'm not a fan of. But that's me. Maybe not everybody's like that, and that's totally fine. That's something I always talk about. You can have different opinions, no problem. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure you guys are subscribed, bell icon turned on so you know when all these videos go up. If you want to follow or support me anywhere else, all my social media is in the description below. Thank you guys for watching. This is a lot of fun. I'm glad I did it, and we'll do more of these videos in the future, and I hope to see you guys there.